Hey there, pirates! Welcome aboard the Anime no Mi channel. Zoro is going to face Mihawk. This is something we've been waiting for a long time, and it's finally about to happen. And it will only be possible thanks to a massive power that Zoro has been hiding, which you'll discover in today's video. I hope for your support to help our crew win, and to do so, you just need to click the thumbs up button, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel. By doing this, you will win an incredible devil fruit, so just comment which fruit you want. Guys, let's start with the basics. Tracing the sword's path from the very beginning. Zoro appears in Chapter 3, already as a pirate hunter with iron determination, vowing to become the greatest swordsman in the world in honor of his childhood friend Kuina. He wields 3 swords, one in his mouth, and defeats enemies with style, but his journey is full of humble lessons. In Chapter 51, during the Baratie arc, he faces Mihawk for the first time and gets an epic beating. Mihawk cuts him like paper, leaving a massive scar on his chest and saying that Zoro is still a small frog in a well. But instead of breaking him, this lights a fire. Zoro vows to surpass Mihawk, and from that moment on, every fight becomes a step toward that final showdown. He doesn't reveal everything at once. He stores, refines, and hides his power. That's the essence of the theory. Zoro evolves in layers, showing only what's necessary, and he has an ace up his sleeve for when Mihawk returns to the ring. Moving on to the early arcs, Zoro already shows this strategy of restraint. In Chapter 3, he fights Kabaji and uses basic techniques, but he doesn't overdo it. He wins efficiently, without wasting tricks. In the Arlong Park arc, he takes a harsh beating, but recovers and cuts the fishman with determination that hints at hidden reserves. Now, skip to the time skip where things really heat up. In Chapter 597, Zoro asks Mihawk to train him. Yes, the guy who humiliated him becomes his mentor. For 2 years, Zoro trains in the shadows of Mihawk's castle, learning secrets beyond the basics. He gains armament and observation haki, but what if he learned more? Mihawk, being the master, likely taught supreme techniques, yet Zoro doesn't use them immediately. Post-time skip in the Punk Hazard arc, he cuts dragons and marines effortlessly, but holds back the trump card. That's classic Zoro. He only unleashes his full power when the enemy deserves it, and Mihawk is the peak of that mountain. Then comes Wano, where Zoro shines like a newly forged blade. In Chapter 909, he arrives disguised as a Ronin, and already shows growth, handling local samurai effortlessly. But the real leap happens in Chapter 1033 against King. Zoro awakens the Conqueror's haki, infusing his swords with an aura that can cut even the indestructible. He uses the King of Hell 3-sword style, a technique combining advanced haki with his inner rage. But he doesn't use this in every fight after. Like in the Egghead arc against Lucci in Chapter 1000 to 110, Zoro wins with style, but doesn't overuse Conqueror's haki. Why? Because he's saving his peak from Mihawk. Imagine Mihawk, who mastered Conqueror's haki decades ago, facing a Zoro who has evolved this power to an insane level, perhaps blending it with something he learned in secret training. In Chapter 597, Mihawk agrees to train him because he sees potential. Zoro must have absorbed lessons beyond the visible, like a haki infusion that turns swords into extensions of his soul. Now, let's connect the dots with Zoro's Conqueror's haki, which is the core of this hidden evolution. In Chapter 1033, he awakens it accidentally, but in Chapter 1152, revealed recently, Zoro still doesn't seem to know he has this power, or is he pretending not to? This is perfect for the theory. He's suppressing it, training in secret to surprise Mihawk. Remember Chapter 51, when Mihawk says true power comes from will? Zoro internalized that, saving his supreme will for the final duel. In Wano, he acquires Enma, the sword that drains haki, forcing him to evolve. In Chapter 1033, Enma tests him, and Zoro masters it. But what if that's just the tip? He could be developing a technique that fuses Conqueror's haki with the 3 swords, creating a strike that cuts through dimensions, something Mihawk has never seen. Zoro doesn't use this at maximum against Kaido or King. He holds back because his target is the Hawk. Looking back at past arcs to reinforce this, in Chapter 597, Zoro swears to Mihawk that he will surpass him. That oath is the fuel. Every fight after is a test, not the main event. In the Dressrosa arc, he cuts Pika, a living mountain, with a strike that echoes his growth, yet without revealing Conqueror's haki. Why? Power economy? Zoro knows Mihawk is the ultimate judge, so he saves the best. In Chapter 909 in Wano, he deals with assassins without showing everything. This is strategy. Like a Zen swordsman, he flows, but only explodes at the right moment. In Chapter 1110, against Lucci, he uses advanced haki but cut short, literally. He wins quickly, suggesting untapped reserves. Now, speculating for fun, what if the hidden evolution is a fusion of styles? Mihawk taught Zoro the Black Blade, like in Chapter 597, where swords turn black with permanent haki. Is Zoro keeping Yoru in mind? In Chapter 1033, his swords shine with Conqueror's haki. Imagine him turning them all black, creating a black inferno that cuts through souls. He hasn't used this yet because Mihawk is the ultimate test. In Chapter 1152, the revelation that Zoro ignores his Conqueror's haki suggests he's training to control it perfectly, to surprise the master, connecting with Mihawk. In Chapter 51, Mihawk spares Zoro because he sees his future. Now, Zoro returns the favor with an evolution that honors this, but surpasses it. He's hiding it so the duel will be legendary, not a massacre. In Chapter 597, the training is intense. Zoro must have learned tricks Mihawk keeps for equals. Zoro, being loyal, only uses his full power on those who deserve it, and Mihawk deserves the complete package. For Zoro to finally defeat Mihawk, the key to this evolution lies in Conqueror's haki. Not just in the fact that he has awakened this power, but in the way he is shaping and refining it for the final battle. Since Zoro first demonstrated Conqueror's haki, he has shown significant growth, but the true potential of his power is being held back. This is the crux of the theory. Zoro is not just training his sword skills, he is strategically strengthening his connection with haki until he reaches a level that allows him to face Mihawk on equal footing. The fight between Zoro and Mihawk goes far beyond simple combat skill. It is a battle of will, ideals, and honor. Conqueror's haki, which Mihawk has long mastered, will be the field where Zoro stands out. While Mihawk has been considered the greatest swordsman in the world for years, Zoro is about to surpass that barrier by incorporating Conqueror's haki into his blades, something no one has done the way he can. This is what makes him unique. Zoro is not just using haki conventionally. He is infusing his iron will and soul into every strike. When Zoro began his journey, he already carried within him the spirit of self-improvement and the desire to honor Kuina's memory. His vow to become the greatest swordsman in the world was not just a promise spoken in words, but something he carried with him every step of the way. Mihawk, in his wisdom, saw this potential in Zoro when he defeated him for the first time, which motivated Zoro to continue his journey with even greater determination. However, at that point, Zoro was still far from reaching the peak of his power. Zoro's evolution went through different stages throughout the story, each revealing a new layer of his potential while also keeping his full strength hidden for the right moment. Training with Mihawk was crucial, as it was there that he learned the true meaning of the sword, complete control over his blade, and mastery of haki. Even with everything he learned, Zoro never revealed himself completely. He held back his true power, always waiting for the exact moment when he would need everything he had stored. This process of evolution is symbolic. Unlike many characters in One Piece, Zoro is not someone who fights just to show how strong he is or to impress others. He is a man of action who chose to conceal his power until it was necessary. In the case of Mihawk, Zoro knows that this fight will be the final battle, the climax of his entire journey as a swordsman, and that is precisely why he is working to reach the highest level of Conqueror's haki, a power that will be the key to defeating Mihawk. When Zoro awakened Conqueror's haki for the first time during the confrontation with King, the whole world realized that he had taken an important step in his evolution. However, at that moment, Zoro's power was still far from complete. Instead of unleashing all of his strength, he used this ability sparingly, showing that his control over haki was still being refined. This is confirmed by the fact that he did not reveal his true strength against Kaido or King, two of the most powerful opponents he has ever faced. It is at this point that Zoro begins to create a crucial difference between himself and Mihawk. The Hawk of the Shadows has had plenty of time to master Conqueror's haki, but Zoro has something Mihawk never had, a true connection to haki. Mihawk probably has impressive control over the power, but Zoro is evolving the way he uses it, not just in combat, but as an extension of his own will. This mastery, combined with his unique fighting style, will be the element that propels Zoro to the top, surpassing even Mihawk himself. In Wano, Zoro's relationship with his sword Enma was crucial for this evolution. The sword, which drains haki, forced Zoro to learn a more refined control over his power. Enma challenged Zoro to draw more from his inner energy, and this was a lesson he will directly apply in his confrontation with Mihawk. However, the power Zoro developed during this time goes beyond basic haki control. He is likely forming a unique technique, something that combines the power of Conqueror's haki with his swordsmanship, creating something new and formidable. That was today's content. We hope you liked it and want to share your opinion on the subject. Don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay amazing.